with Hello everyone, it's Jocelyn with Musically Minded, and today I am talking about story time at circle time. It can be an interesting situation. It can either be the reason your kids come to circle time or the reason they escape early. You might have some behaviors that occur at story time / circle time. And so today I'm going to give you 3 tips that you can use at your next story time so that your kids stay engaged and you and them enjoy being there. Now, I got to thinking that it's important I share this with all of you because I was recently this month in my online classes, I'm doing dinosaurs. Now, anyone out there who has done dinosaurs, you might know that dinosaur names are really hard to pronounce. And the hard part is when the 4-year-old corrects you. It's happened. It's definitely happened. So I've made friends with going onto YouTube, typing in the name of the dinosaur that I'm struggling with how to say, and you can actually get it to say it for you. And then I sit there and I practice it over and over because Paracerphalopoulos, I don't want to get it wrong. So I want to share with you what happened because the other day I was reading a book called Dinosaur Rumpus. And if you don't know this book, it's a great one by Tony Mitten. And speaking of mittens, we sang that mitten song the other day. And this book is a lot of fun. It's one of those really engaging storytime books. So I encourage you to check it out if you haven't. Dinosaur Rumpus. Okay, so I had planned to use Dinosaur Rumpus in my with all my kids, and then you know what happened was I was like, I gotta practice what I preach, which is I always tell people read the story ahead of time. So of course I did, and wouldn't you know it, I get to a few like dinosaur names in here. Check this one out. It is Styracosaurus. Styracosaurus. When you read that at first, it's like, oh, so many letters. Or this one, Deinonychus. Okay, I didn't learn Deinonychus just by trying to sound it out because I would not have been able to sound it out like that, so I went to YouTube. Point being, if I had not gone through and read this book before, I would have been in trouble. So today I've got 3 tips for you to make your story times a success. Tip number 1 is the Hamburger Method. Now you might be wondering, what the heck is the Hamburger Method? Well, it's the same method you want to use when you deliver something to somebody, maybe a suggestion to someone. You know, the Hamburger Method, you say something nice, then you give the suggestion, and then you follow it up with something nice. Well, at circle time, we're going to use the Hamburger Method to get your kids ready for story time. So it's going to go like this. You're going to get them up and moving, some sort of movement activity, and then you're going to sit them down so that they will be ready to do the story. Their brain is ready to engage. And then immediately following the story, you are going to know that you're going to need to get them up again. Nothing's wrong with them. Nothing's wrong with you. But if you don't allow your children the time to move their bodies before asking them to sit down, everyone is going to be disappointed and you're going to feel like you're failing as a teacher, or you might feel like something's wrong with them. So again, Hamburger Method, you're going to do an active engagement activity. You're going to sit down and do the story, and then you're going to stand up and do another movement. So just by doing those 3 steps, I know that you're going to help just by that little tip number 1. Tip number 2 is pretty much what I just talked about. Pre-read the book. That means that you need to plan for your circle times. When you are like, oh, I think we'll do a story, and you look over at all of your books and you just go grab one, you're risking it because there could be the chance that you haven't read the book before and you don't know how to bring it alive. Or like me, you didn't know how to pronounce some of the words, or you might pick a book that's way too long for your age group. You pick a book off of your shelf that's really designed for 1st graders and you have 3-year-olds. Again, you're setting yourself up and the kids up for not doing a very good job because they're not going to be able to engage. It's too complicated. If there aren't enough pictures, if there are 57,000 words on each page, that's going to lead to them disengaging. And you are going to feel like you're a failure at your story time. But you know what? It was just the book. So make sure you check your book ahead of time. And the last secret tip that I want to share with you is know your kids so that when you bring the book to class, you'll bring books that are engaging. You're going to get to know your kids. So maybe for your 4-year-old class right now, they can sit for a longer amount of time. Maybe they have been, they've had a lot of practice. They've built up that stamina to be able to listen. And so it's maybe not as important, but I always try to look for read alouds that are engaging in some way. So what I mean by that are there's a repetitive line in it that I can have them say. There is maybe a rhythm to the words that I can have them pat the beat as we go along. I might even start to add in a little song after every third page. I could do that if you wanted to take a look at my sample for that. It's when I do the book, The Bear Snores On. I'm going to bring in that little ditty every time. Grizzly bear, oh, grizzly bear is sleeping in his cave. Please be very quiet, very, very quiet. If you wake him, if you shake him, he gets very mad. And I do that every time Bear Snores On comes up in the book. It keeps them engaged. So look for books like that. And when you have pre-read the book, then you'll know if it's an engaging book or not. Now, non-engaging books have children strictly listening. And now why that's not, I mean, of course, there's so many great books out there that are going to be that way, but you want to make sure and plan ahead. Hello. And I can't see if you are jumping on from my Circle Time group. If you want to just go ahead and say your name, then I can say hi. Otherwise, it just says Facebook user. So otherwise, when you are picking those books, you want to make sure that you are picking ones that work well with your group and that are engaging, especially for those kids who need to stay, stimulated throughout the story time. So again, we got our 3 tips. The Hamburger Method, you're going to have a move, then they're going to be ready for a story time, and then immediately following the story time, do some sort of engaging full body activity. Number 2, you're going to pre-read the book. So ahead of time, oh, Shivani, hello. You're going to pre-read the book. You are not just going to grab it off the shelf and hope for the best. You are going to read it through, figure out where you might be able to add in some engagement, maybe figure out, like me, the words that are hard, or maybe recognize it might be a book that's too complicated for a large group. One thing you could do is you could pull a small group together. You could even read one-on-one with a child. So the book isn't mean it needs to be out the door, but you just need to modify it so you don't set yourself up for the kids disengaging. And last, make sure books that you choose, especially for younger audiences who don't have the stamina built up to listen to a long story, that you find books that are engaging. And I'm always sharing them on here. Also, if you're in my Keeping It Fresh Club, you got to see Dinosaur Rumpus. We did another book the last couple months ago. So go back and check those out. We'll be, of course, club members be adding even more exciting, engaging books over the next couple months. So, my friends, thank you so much. And if you have a Circle Time struggle that you would like me to answer, just go ahead and leave it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, I always go back and look at these. And I would love to help you with either getting me to answer it or bringing in an expert that can help us. So have a wonderful Wednesday, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.